Good afternoon, everybody. It's Rachel Gaffney here in Dallas, Texas, and here we are on the launch of our first show. And nothing like trying one live for the first time. When they suggested that to me, I said, yeah, that won't be a problem. That'll be easy. Let's just go live. Then there won't be any problems, and then if there are, we don't have to deal with anything. So anyway, I'm crazy, but you guys who know me know that already. I want to introduce you today to my producer, who's Anna. Anna's over there. Hi, Anna.
Hi, everybody.
How are you doing? Thanks
I am
for being
all right,
with
thanks.
me.
It's a bit of a close shot, so I'm pulling a bit backwards, so hello.
Thanks. Anna's my sidekick here today and is going to help me sort through all this. So let's get started. I thought I would start with a little map of my country here behind me, of Ireland, and start telling the little story about this show, what it's about, what to expect, and what I'm trying to do with all this as the weeks go by. So we're here in the Central Time Zone in Dallas, which is just after 1 p.m. It's probably about 1:20 or so. In Ireland, it should be about 7:20. So the time difference between Texas and Ireland is 6 hours. But like I said, I'm from Ireland, and the map is here behind me. And the reason for this map is not for the people who are from Ireland, although there are certain people over there that could do with some geography lessons too. The map actually is just showing all the different counties. Now, the most important county that you need to focus on is Cork in the very south. The others are kind of okay, but Cork is the most important county in Ireland. Obviously, I'm joking. I'm from Cork, so there's a little bit of bias there. So I just have to say
yes,
that.
the most beautiful
We're also
one.
known as the Rebel County, Anna. Did you know that?
It is?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, guys, come on. I'm a little bit of a rebel and fight myself. So any surprise that it's called the Rebel County, right?
Yes, well, I've been to Ireland, a part of it a little bit, but
Yeah.
let me just say that I loved every bit of it, so I
really?
can't say. I'm going to have to take your word on it. Yep.
Did you go to Cork?
No. Oopsies.
Right. Well, we'll correct that one. Okay. So we'll talk about
Yeah.
that after you've been to Cork. So anyway, but the reason I wanted to show you this is because I get all sorts of questions, and I'm going to tell you one question I got a few years ago. And if she's watching, I apologize, and I won't say her name. But somebody called me and said, Rachel, what's the name of the river between the United Kingdom and Ireland? That little river there. And I said, do you mean the Irish Sea?
Wow.
So you'd be surprised what questions I get asked and everything. So I thought, you know what, it's time to start talking about Ireland and the Ireland I know. So moving on, I mentioned to you guys, I grew up in Cork in Southern Ireland, and I lived in Blackrock. And in Blackrock, I attended a school there, the Ursline Convent. So I'm a good Catholic Ursline girl. We'll just leave that at that. And with Blackrock Castle, Blackrock Castle was just sort of in the grounds of where I grew up. You know, where I went to school every day. Here was this castle on my doorstep, and I walked by it every day, and it sort of didn't mean anything to me. And now I realize the importance of a castle. You know, you take it for granted, you know, especially when you go away. So Blackrock Castle is overlooking Cork Harbour. Now, Cork Harbour is a very, very large harbour, and that sounds very sort of banal, just saying, oh, great, Rachel, it's a large harbour. But it's a very important harbour, and we can talk about it another time for history and import-export, wine, butter, all those kind of facts. But Cork Harbour and Cork City, we have a lovely coat of arms in Cork City, and it shows, and I think I have a photo of it there, Anna. I actually took a photograph of it on a carpet in the City Hall when I was visiting the Lord Mayor at the time, and I noticed that the logo was actually embedded into the carpet. So I took a photograph, and I think maybe Anna has the photo up.
Yeah.
And you do. Oh,
We can even
fantastic.
see a shoe. So, perfect.
You can?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. So I don't know if you guys can make it out. It says Statio Benfide Carinis, which means safe place for ships. So the idea is that with Cork Harbour, you could come in, the boats, it's one of the only harbours in Europe, and I can't say the world actually, you'll have fact checking on this now, fake news. When you go into Cork Harbour, the ships can go in, turn around and come back out again, which is a wonderful sort of advantage for a harbour. And when I was there, I was visiting a friend of mine, Des Cal, and I should have a photo of Des in all his finery. Don't we have a photo of Des? He was the Lord Mayor of Cork at the time, and I took a picture of him sitting behind his desk and his chain of office. And the reason I took this photo, the reason I thought I'd quickly tell you about this is that the Lord Mayor of Cork, and I do say Lord Mayor, because in Ireland, in Dublin, in Belfast, in Cork, the big cities, they have the title Lord Mayor, not just mayor. So in Dallas, we have the mayor of Dallas.
And why is that? I'm curious.
Because, I'm so glad you asked me that, Anna. And some of you guys might be watching on Masterpiece Theatre at the moment, Victoria, you know about Queen Victoria. So
Correct.
Queen Victoria, I got to put on my glasses here, visited Ireland a few times, but her first visit to Ireland was in August of, what did I write down here? 1849. August the 2nd, 1849 is her first visit ever to Ireland. And it was on the programme actually the other night. And what she did was, after the famine, the first arrival point was actually Cork Harbour. So that's where she set foot in Ireland for the very first time, was Cork. And she bestowed the title of Lord Mayor. So it was an honorary title bestowed on by Queen Victoria. And we still have it to this day in these major cities around Ireland. Where she arrived was Cove. And I should have a lovely photo of Cove Cathedral. And Cove was spelled C-O-B-H. Pronounced Cove, C-O-V-E, but spelled C-O-B-H. Now, when she arrived, in honour of her visit, they renamed it to Queenstown. So it was called Queenstown for many, many years. And then after Ireland gained her independence, it reverted back to the name Cove, spelled C-O-B-H. So now we know Cove. And actually a little fact, Anna, that the Titanic, that was the last place it departed for the United States, was Cove.
Oh.
And so there's a Titanic museum that people can go visit and exhibit in Cove. It's incredible. There's a Titanic exhibit in Belfast too as well.
Actually, that's something that I didn't do, but I really wanted to go and see. We have some people commenting on Facebook. They're actually saying they're super excited, and some people that already went to Ireland, they're saying that they wish they could go back. So, yeah.
Why can't they?
Well, life, I guess.
Yeah, I know, just kidding.
Yeah, so back to you, Rachel.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's good to know. I love to hear people's stories, and especially if they have any tips or places that they've been to that they think are fantastic, or cafes they've eaten in, or because the artisans in Ireland are incredible. So then moving forward to 1996, I moved here to the United States of America, and I lived in Dallas. Then we were transferred to Chicago, and during those years, I kind of noticed that people's perception of Ireland was, God, it's not the Ireland I know or the Ireland I grew up in at all. And this was kind of going on in the back of my mind. Fast forward to 2001, I decided I'm going to start a business. I'm going to start a brand that can tell the story and introduce people to the Ireland that I grew up in. You know, I didn't grow up with my parents falling off bar stools. You know, I say that all the time, but they really weren't. You know, they didn't take me to the pub every Sunday. And that's the image we get here in the United States. We get St. Patrick's Day, we get green beer, we get cabbage, bacon and cabbage, green beads, dyeing the river.
And Guinness.
And Guinness. And there's nothing wrong with Guinness, and there's nothing wrong with having a great time on St. Patrick's Day at all. But there's 365 days of the year, and that's not, you know, that's not Ireland. So I thought, well, why don't I go into Nordstrom's or Williams-Sonoma or Sur La Table? Why can't I shop in these shops and find really good Irish products? Like even my water right now is in my Stephen Pearce pottery mug, which is from East Cork, you know, a most incredible potter. Irish people watching will recognize this. I'm showing my age there, but that cup is 26 years old. I know because I got it when I got married. But anyway, so I started making Irish butter shortbreads, and I made it with actually Kerrygold unsalted butter. There's a story behind that too, because not only is it the best butter, but there's reasons why. It sort of told the story about Irish butter and how the cows are grass-fed in Ireland, and so the natural beta-carotene comes from the grass into the cows and transfers into the butter, hence that lovely yellowy gold colour. So I made the shortbreads with that, and these were the shortbread cookies for anybody out there who recognises these. But I called it Rachel Gaffney's Authentic Irish Goods, with sell in Central Market, Whole Foods, Lunds and Byerly's in Minneapolis, St. Paul, 22 stores up there. I mean, it was going great guns, but the problem being is I was being pigeonholed as a cookie lady.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I didn't want to be, I mean, I wouldn't mind having Mrs. Field's bank account, but I didn't want to be the cookie lady. I was trying to sort of tell this story about Ireland through...
there was a bigger goal. There was
a
bigger mission.
A bigger story. And I was managing supermarket shelves and distributors. And so I was working in my business all the time as opposed to on the bigger business. So I reset it and called it Rachel Gaffney's Real Ireland, which is the logo you guys saw, the blue. I have a passion for that blue. Blue is the original and the presidential flag of Ireland. Did you know that? Uh-huh. And so I take photos of blue doors and gates everywhere I go in Ireland. Anna, did you notice some of my photos the other day of all the blue?
A little bit. Yeah. There were maybe a 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 10.
Oh my
A lot.
I'm probably knocking on people's doors throughout the country, whether it's a shed door, a barn door, a Georgian door, a gate. I have the photos of me in front of a blue door around Ireland.
Did you, okay, so you just did it in Ireland. You didn't bring that habit into Dallas?
No, I haven't found them yet. No, it's the blue doors and gates of Ireland that I'm collecting. So
fair enough.
So anyway, the shortbreads happened, and now where this business has come on to is it's travel, it's food, it's culture, it's all of these things about Ireland. So I arrange travel for people. They come to me, they want to go to Ireland, they want to go off the beaten path. You know, I've had some country and western singers, a lot of US senators. I won't name names because when they ask you to do a trip and it's private, then it's private.
Of course.
Now, one guy did tell me I could tell people, and I wrote about it, and that was Jake McDorman. He starred in Limitless and American Sniper with Bradley Cooper. And,
oh, wow.
Yeah, and he was just in the remake of Murphy Brown with Candice Bergen, you know, where he played her son. So I did his trip to Ireland and wrote about it, and he had a fantastic time. So that's kind of where all that goes. And then in the meantime, I'm a columnist for Georgina Campbell. So this is Georgina Campbell's guide to Ireland, the best of the best. The reason I'm telling you about this, and by the way, these books are available on my website, but she sends people out around Ireland to stay in hotels, eat in restaurants. You're not staying for free. We won't write a blog post about you if you give us a free dinner or meal. These are tried, you know, and tested. This is still like the standard. Georgina Campbell. The other one is Ireland's Blue Book, and the McKenna's, Sally McKenna's, the McKenna's guides. Those would be the three kind of industry standards off the top of my head of people who've been doing it a long time and know what they're doing. And in fact, yesterday in Dublin, Georgina Campbell had her best breakfast of the year.
Really?
Ireland Award, yes, which went to Longville House in County Cork. Oh no, not for their breakfast. It went for the best bread, which is made with a stout and a cider that they make on their property from their apples.
That sounds delicious.
I mean, just the stories and the information coming out of Ireland is just unbelievable. It's off the charts. And that's what we're going to do with this show. We're going to introduce you to food and people and places and all the rest of it. So
I have to say, Rachel, I'm sorry, I forgot. Well, I did not forget. Okay. I was busy putting all these things together. Yeah. So I have something on the stream, which is you accompanied by, of course, the big Martha Stewart. I did not put that up, but people have to see that.
Oh, yes, of course.
We did not mention that, but people can see you both holding teacups. And
so I was her guest for St. Patrick's Day one year, and I made the Irish butter shortbreads live as well. I think what everybody asks me to do live. Like Fox have asked me to do live on March the 14th, so I'm going to be doing... it's an Irish salmon stack.
Oh, you mentioned this. Yeah. It sounded delicious.
I'm not going to tell you anymore. You have to watch Fox
we have
on
to
the
watch.
14th. It's in the morning TV. But I got the recipe from my good friend Nevin Maguire. And Nevin is a very famous chef in Ireland who owns Macneen House and restaurant and cooking school. I don't know how many cookbooks he's written. I should have researched this. In my mind, he's written 152, but it's probably about 18. He just seems to be writing books all the time. And he goes around Ireland. He's a proponent for home economics and getting food back in schools, which I'm a big supporter of. You know, people don't know how to cook anymore. But Nevin gave me his recipe for this Fox segment, so thanks, Nevin. Shout out to him. And there might be a little bit of surprise with Nevin in a few weeks, connecting with Dallas.
I am I'm trying to find how many books he's written in the meantime.
Okay. Are you doing my fact checking live?
I am, ma'am. I am.
My goodness gracious. I'm kind of frightened now. So that was my experience with Martha, which was extraordinary. It was great fun.
Let's look at that photo again.
Really?
So cute.
Do we have to?
How long ago was this?
7 years ago, maybe. I don't know.
Wow.
I'm still working with her.
Awesome.
Her producer was Bob Altman at the time, the supervising producer, and I don't know if he's on the feed. If he does, I'd love him to stand up and say hello. If you're there, Bob, he's in Connecticut, and he and I are working on a project together, which I'm really excited about, and it looks like it's coming together for a TV show. But fast forward to the travel side of things. So when I do the trips for people, I sort of keep all of the information on what people are asking me. And I glean a lot from people when I'm with them. I always like to follow up with them when they've come back. And I don't mean a standard questionnaire, but if I can, I meet them or chat with them. And it helps me formulate ideas for trips and trips. I'm doing an equestrian trip for somebody at the moment. and they're probably going to go to the Dunraven Arms in Adair, and they have Connemara ponies here in Ireland, in Texas, and so they want to ride over there. So I have them. I'm looking at going to Crossogue in County Tipperary. These are great places to stay for equestrian. But I am going to lead a trip in September. So I do one a year, maybe two a year at tops, but I've one coming up this September, maximum number of spots, 14.
Okay, I was going to say how many people are looking at.
I think there's about 6 spots taken already. And where we're going to go is we're going to come into Dublin, we're going to have dinner at Glover's Alley, which is a new restaurant. It celebrated its first anniversary, I think, yesterday in Dublin with Chef Andy McFadden. And we'll meet with him and sample his food. Then we're going to head down to Limerick. We're going to meet Emen MacDonald. And Emen is the author of An Irish Farmette, which is another story. It's all on my website. And then we're going to go to Adair Manor.
All right, let's see a photo of that
We have
because
photos of Adair Manor.
it's so cute.
I took this picture. I took these pictures, by the way.
You did?
I did.
It looks beautiful.
Is that picture up?
It is.
So Adair Manor, we're going to stay there, which won't be a hardship. And then from there, we're going to go across into North Cork, into Longville House, which is the place that won the award yesterday with Georgina Campbell for their best bread. So the timing is...
Everything is tied up together.
Fortuitous.
You know your stuff, Rachel.
I do know my stuff. I know my stuff before a lot of people know the stuff.
Of course.
No, I mean, I like to... Honestly, Anna, when I go home, and I go home a lot, I go home every 3 months, always onto my trip, I add about 5 days on my own. And I hire a car, and I just go off. And I don't know what I'm looking for.
That is the best way.
And the reason being is because I am taking notes, whether it's an antique shop or in fact, I have a client here in Dallas who built her house. It took her 7 years to build it because every single piece of the house came from Ireland.
We're losing you. We have to go back to...
every piece of the house came from Ireland. Can you believe it?
That's incredible.
Oh, it's phenomenal.
I've heard of people bringing whole castles. Let me put the camera on me because I'm talking a lot. So I've heard of people bringing whole castles to America and building in here. I guess she's not doing the same. It's just kind of like items.
No, she went around and she kind of got piece by piece.
Okay.
For example, she got a landscape architect here to develop an Irish woodland around her house. But all the stone, and she went to antique shops, barns, flea markets, you name it. It's quite a spectacle, really. It's quite amazing. Putting my glasses back on here. So after Adair Manor, we're going to go to Longville House, and we'll stay there and have dinner with the owners. And that's an old Georgian property there in North Cork.
Let's see that again.
Longville, it's gorgeous.
It's beautiful.
They have their own orchards at the back as well. They have their own pigs. They slaughter their own pigs.
Really?
They have their own vegetable gardens. They have their own... I mean, they grow everything there. There's forest walks. We might go down to the Blackwater River and do a bit of fishing, and then, maybe whatever we catch. Oh, actually, no, what we're doing? We're doing afternoon tea with them, and we're doing foraging in their forest. So that'll be really fun to see what people get and then learn how to cook with it or whatever. And then from there, the next day, we're going to go across to the world-famous Ballymaloe House and Cooking School in East Cork. I wonder if anybody has heard of Dorina Allen, Myrtle Allen, and Rachel Allen. Myrtle Allen sadly passed away recently, and she would be the grandmother of, I would say, the movement in Ireland. She was ahead of her time. She was the woman who brought from the farm to the table, how to cook and eat properly. Now, you'll see me and hear me mentioning food a lot throughout these series. Now, we'll cover lots of topics, and I'll have authors and lots of other different guests on. But the running kind of theme through this is about the food. The food in Ireland is phenomenal. And I look at Ireland as like one giant pantry. I mean, if you were to go shopping, if I told you can go cooking now, go to Ireland to do your food shopping, you'll be blown away. The producers are off the charts, and I think that message isn't here yet. And I can't wait anymore for other people to bring the message. So that's why I'm doing this. I'm like, okay, I got to get this message out there.
Of course, we need to know.
We do. And all of my clients, bar none, will say when they come back, Rachel, I cannot believe the food. Because everybody's expecting it to be corned beef and cabbage and stew. Some boiled potatoes until they've gone mushy. And listen, this isn't exclusive to Irish people, Anna. We all had people in our families generations ago where they couldn't cook.
That is true.
So if you can't cook, you can't blame the ingredients if you can't cook. And when the carrot comes out of the ground in Ireland, it is delicious, right? Or the tomatoes or the strawberries, they're so good. Now, if you're really bad in the kitchen and you destroy them, that's the human's fault, not the ingredients. So it's not fair to say the food in Ireland is bad, because the food in Ireland is incredible. It was always great. Now we have a combination of the best ingredients and a highly skilled, educated, trained chefs all over the country and artisans. So the movement is huge. We will then come around to Clonakilty, and we're going to attend a Taste of West Cork, which is a food festival. And there should be a photo of the beach there.
Yes,
we'll be
let's see that.
We're staying in a hotel there overlooking the beach. And that's Inchydoney Beach. Isn't it rather nice?
It has wonderful. What kind of weather would it be in September around here?
Oh, well, I like September. I got married in September because when I was growing up, my hair is just, I'm sorry, I keep doing this because it's just flicking everywhere. But when I was growing up in Ireland, I always remember going back to school in September, and you'd be in the classroom looking out the windows, and the sun would be splitting the stones. It's like, I think they called it an Indian summer or something. And I thought, always when we go back to school, the weather's beautiful. So that's why I decided to get married in September, and it was beautiful. But since then, I do tell clients May to September, and it's also a peak season in Ireland. Now, actually, that brings me to something that I want to talk to you guys about, is a few travel tips. So we're going to do every week is we're going to do favourite Irish finds and travel tips. Those will be two things every week. What we will be doing is we will be linking live with Ireland. And I have a few surprises up my sleeve. I can't really say right now this minute because I want to dot the I's, cross the T's, and make sure we have the connections, i.e. technical connections. I don't mean the people. I have some people lined up that you would love to meet. And the idea is, I don't know if they can see the screen behind me here, I'm sure they can, is that we will do the live feed with the guests here. So we can't go to Ireland, and they may not be able to get over here to the TV shows, so I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to connect Texas with Ireland every week on this screen, and I want to know what you want to hear. I want to know who you want to meet. I'll try.
Write on those comments below.
So in the comment section in the Facebook Live, if people want to know something. So I've already lined up two very famous chefs. There's a little nugget. I've also lined up a castle. We'll do a live feed from a castle. I've lined up an Irish author. And like I said, favourite finds and travel tips. If you're going to Ireland or planning on going to Ireland soon, every single time I work with a client, the first thing I do every time is I'm not going to do a thing until you do your flights. There's no point in me telling you where to go and what to see until you do your flights. This is really important, especially for the US, because here in the US, we don't get the same amount of vacation days as they do in Europe. And I think that's important for people in Ireland to realize. That's why Americans have to do the country in a week. And I do try and tell them, will you stop trying to speed date with the country? You know, they're bopping around like, they want to take in all, every city and place in a week. And you're exhausted, Anna. I mean, you don't want to have a trip like that.
I do have a question, though. When I went to Ireland, my husband and I traveled. We were driving around, and we've been in Texas for 3 years now. Mm-hmm. And so what happened was we didn't feel like the distances were that long, but the landscape was incredibly different. Now, for someone who's in Texas, how is driving over there? Because I'm very curious. What have people mentioned before when they go and drive? Because the roads are very, very narrow.
Right. So they are narrow in places. So let's break this down really quickly. The main motorways connecting all the major cities are incredible. It's no different than us. We will go from Dallas to Houston, and in Texas we'll drive to and from Houston in a day. And think nothing about driving that 8 hours. We don't drive like that in Ireland. But I've lost my train of thought. In Ireland, if you drive between the major cities like Cork and Dublin, Limerick, Galway, Belfast, the motorways are spectacular. They're great. They're just like here. Then you just allow yourself the time, because if you only do motorways, you are missing out on the small towns and villages. I always remember in the early years when I would be with my dad, he would go up to Dublin for work, and he would take us up to Dublin, but they didn't have all the main motorway back then. He would take me through the small towns, and our father used to make us, we'd have to recite what town and village do you have to go through before you get to Dublin. That was his way of teaching us geography.
I love that.
Yeah, he would also make us add the number plates on the front or the back of the car. It was like a math question,
Oh, wow.
Yeah. That was the extent of it, though. That was the extent of his educational stuff with us. But you are going to miss out on some beautiful towns and villages. And if I tell people, like, if you're going to go somewhere up in west coast of Ireland, and as you go up and you're driving those small roads, don't think that you're going to be there within an hour. It might take you an hour and a half or 2 hours, because if there's a herd of sheep, you know what? Enjoy the herd of sheep going by and take a picture and enjoy it. Don't be kind of rushing. If you overschedule yourself, you won't enjoy it as much. And trust me, it doesn't matter where in Ireland you go. So if you're in the Midlands, and if you're in Cavan and Longford and Monaghan, stay in those regions and explore that region. Again, like, try not to speed date with the country. I think you're missing out. I really do. So that's one of the travel tips. But looking at the flights is important. Now, we have a new direct flight. Yay!
Yes!
Finally! Starts in June this year with American Airlines.
Ooh, yeah. I like that. I like that very much.
I'm giving American a plug here. They didn't ask me to. It's not sponsored or anything. I'm just saying this because you guys need to know this. So the direct flight from Dallas to Dublin starting in June. Now, it's only running June till September, but I'm hoping that this will eventually morph into more.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that makes a huge difference. So, because for me, when I'm traveling, I normally have to go from Dallas to either Chicago or Philadelphia or Charlotte or somewhere like that, and then what that does is, so there's a day and a half traveling at either side. So if you think about, if you're an American traveling and you have a week's vacation and you doing a day and a half either side, that's almost 3 days in travel.
Wow.
Give or take. And I'm talking about like from leaving your house to your destination, but it's still time. Time is time.
And with the jet lag and everything, you want to make sure that you enjoy the best.
Yeah, and so the other thing too is in Ireland we have TSA pre-clearance in Dublin and Shannon Airport, which is fantastic.
Ooh, I didn't know
the only
that.
country in Europe who has that. So when you leave Ireland, Dublin or Shannon Airport to come back to the United States, you'll actually clear in the TSA pre-clearing before you go to the States. So when you come to the States, you're done. You just get off the plane and go. It's great.
That's awesome.
Fantastic. And I love Shannon Airport. It's a smaller airport, but it's incredibly efficient. You get out of there really quickly, get your car and get out. And Shannon's on the west coast of Ireland.
Let's see that map again.
So what I like about that is the trip I'm doing for my clients, they're going to come into Shannon. Now, unfortunately, that's not a direct flight, but they don't mind. They want to fly up through the States, come into Shannon, and then I'm going to take them down around the country and then up into, actually going to spend some time exploring Tipperary and Wicklow and making their way back up to Dublin. And then I have other clients where I'm right now doing their trip, and it's Dublin, up into Louth, County Down, across to Cavan, moving into the Midlands and across to the Wild West, which I personally have what they call in Ireland a graw, or a love for.
Wow.
Graw is the Irish word for love.
Really?
Yeah, so I have a graw, is what they say in Ireland. I have a love for. So I have a graw for the West. Even though I'm from Cork, I think Sligo and Mayo the coastline there is breathtaking.
Oh my God, I've been to Sligo. It was wonderful. I thought I was going to die on one of the cliffs, but all good.
Well, I found out, even though, because my name is Gaffney and my dad was born in Cork, my grandfather was born in Tipperary and my great-grandfather was born in Sligo, because they were in the RIC, which is the Royal Irish Constabulary, and they were never allowed to work in the county they were born in, so they had to move them around. So I can understand now that I have this pull towards Sligo, and I think it must be that wild in me, because as you guys said before I came on this show, you're very unfiltered, which for me I am, but hopefully
comes naturally.
Well, I have to be careful about my filtering sometimes, But so one thing I wanted to talk about was favourite Irish finds. Do we have time to do that really quickly?
Yeah, we do. On 1 minute, how do we feel about that? No,
Okay.
we have 2 minutes. That's
Okay,
fine.
so favourite Irish finds. Really wanted to tell you about this. So there's a jacket. There's a company called Dubarry in Ireland.
We're seeing that on the stream right now.
It's the Bracken jacket.
Yeah.
Okay, so there should be another photo of a very famous lady wearing it, and it's the Duchess of Cambridge.
I've heard of her.
Yeah. So you see she's wearing that jacket, the Bracken jacket.
Wonderful.
So that is made by Dubarry. Dubarry are in Ballinasloe in County Galway, and I'm a huge Dubarry fan because I wear their boots everywhere. But Dubarry also do this clothing, and in their clothing is their fabric they get from Tipperary. And it comes from a company called John Hanley and Sons, who are weavers. They've been doing it for 125 years. And I've always loved their products too. And
let's see that.
These are some of my finds. I thought I'd show you. Are these blankets? Can you see these?
Yes, I have the wide shot now so people can actually see that.
So you can see there the John Hanley here with cashmere. This is one of the little baby blankets.
Oh, that looks so
Isn't it
cute.
lovely?
Very, very nice.
And this one, now these are all available on my website if you want to look at these too, but John Hanley's been making this company, not him personally because he's not 125, been in the family for 125 years.
Poor man, he would have worked to exhaustion.
I'd say his fingers would be exhausted from all the weaving.
You bet.
Sorry. I think it's Brian Hanley is the managing director there now. But I love that it goes down through the generations. You know, it's in Neenah, not far from Neenah, County Tipperary. But they make, you know, all these tweeds and wools and cashmeres. They do scarves and blankets. And it was their tweed that went to Dubarry that made the jacket that the Duchess of Cambridge is wearing. So I love that there's all these little Irish stories and links to people, products and places. So again, I'd love to hear what you want to hear. If you want to know more about my trip, if you've got a suggestion for a favourite Irish find, I'd like to know about it. I have a few up my sleeve for the next few weeks that I've discovered.
Yeah,
so when I'm in Ireland, I look for them and I bring them back.
If you are on the feed, you can see the Rachel's website right now. So that's where you can go and find out all about these recommendations. Right, out of the feed. So back to you, Rachel.
Okay, well, so I think that's it. And I love, did you see how I did my little arrangement for my table?
Let's look at that.
I had
again.
to use my
So
Waterford
beautiful.
crystal bowl. Now this obviously is ivy and roses because otherwise somebody would have thrown a few plastic shamrocks and green beads on the table.
We're about being classy and showing the real Ireland here. Absolutely.
Yes. They work very, very hard over there at what they do. They really do with their food and their clothing and their standards. And I think I owe it to them and we owe it to them to make sure that that message is delivered here too. I mean, I'm going to try the best I can. I know I'm going to make mistakes. I might get spelling wrong or somebody's name. And if I do, I apologize. You can correct me and I will go back and correct it. But please don't take it personally. I'm sort of, like I said, this is live, so I'm kind of winging it too. So I must be crazy. So next week we'll be back on air. And
Same time next week.
same time, 1:15 next Wednesday. Definitely next Wednesday that time. But we may have to tweak some of the times for the following weeks based on the links with Ireland, because I suddenly started to think, well, it'll be 7:15 over there, and do you really want to have a look around in the dark?
That is true. We can always record
Yeah, we could do that too.
some part where people would show us the video that they have, and then they can talk to us when you know we are
Wouldn't
talking
you like
to them
to see a
to see
castle?
what's happening.
Wouldn't
Yes.
people like to go inside this castle, I won't say where, and see what's going on there, kind of life in the castle? Would you like to see life in somebody's cooking school and their country house in Wicklow? Ooh, did I give away some clues there? Can I mention County Wicklow, famous house and cooking school? Wonder who that could be. But hopefully she's watching. She and I chatted. I love her to bits. And also, I have a piece of homework before I leave.
Ooh, let's hear it.
Netflix. There is a series on Netflix I want you guys to look into. It's called Lords and Ladles. Spelled Lords and ladles as a soup ladle. It's on
We'll write that on
Netflix.
the comments so people have
And
access.
it is a group of chefs in Ireland. They go into these ancient and phenomenally gorgeous country homes in Ireland. And it's a cooking show, but they have to cook from the menu from maybe 150 years ago or 200 years ago and serve it to the lords and ladies and everything. So it's lords and ladles. And the reason I want you to watch it is because you'll have to wait and find out.
All right. Well, can't wait for next week.
So I think that's it, everybody. Thanks for joining in, those of you who have. So hopefully that's my mom, my dad, and my husband. So we did this show for my family because I'm assuming that's all that would have watched today, you know. It's a couple
more people. A couple more people,
maybe
Rachel.
a few rent-a-friends.
Right? Yeah.
No, but we'll keep going. So
All right.
alrighty. So until next week, thanks a million. Slán leat.